Hey guys, Parker here, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different from what I usually do. Plasma Pulse Finale is one of the OG top ones of 2.1, with it beginning its reign in the late fall of 2017 and only ending in February of 2018 when Bloodlust took over. It's also, without question, the hardest level I've ever beaten. Yes! When you look at Plasma Pulse Finale, you can definitely tell that the level was made during a time when top ones weren't just completely dominated by wave and ship. The level itself is actually usually very straightforward gameplay-wise. There's timings, ships, timings, more timings, even more timings, ship, wave, and the level ends with, you guessed it, even more timings. I think that covers pretty much 90% of the level's gameplay, but not all of it. The last 10% of gameplay in Plasma Pulse Finale takes place in the form of two duels. The first one is a spider duel that's not really hard as much as it is stupid. If you haven't figured this part out, don't worry, I haven't figured it out either, and I've beaten the entire level. But there's one more segment of gameplay that I have yet to talk about. 33 to 39% in Plasma Pulse Finale is a cube/robot duel, or as I call it, a Cubot Robe duel, that is pretty easily the hardest duel I've ever tried to do start to finish. For a lot of people, this is the part that completely blocks any of their efforts to learn the entire level, much less beat it. But would you believe me when I say that this duel is not only way easier than it seems to learn, but it's also incredibly consistent? Now, maybe it's just because I've done levels like Black Blizzard, Blade of Justice, and Endless Dream, and have experience with the stupidest duels known to humanity, but once I got over the initial, what am I doing here? Feeling that the duel provided, it was actually really easy and really fun to figure out. So that's just gonna be what this video is me teaching you how I did it. Just one more thing before I start actually teaching you how to do it. Until and unless I explicitly say otherwise, this guide will be entirely focused on the bottom robot. Pretty much all of the gameplay is focused on the bottom robot. There's like two sections where it's not, and the cube at the top is the main focus, but usually the cube just follows what the robot does. Okay, let's start. In this duel, there are three major types of clicks that you have to focus on: small clicks, medium clicks, and large clicks. For the first click, I found it easiest to click slightly before entering the duel portal, but this was mostly so I didn't have to think about it. Doing it after is perfectly fine, as long as you're clicking when the robot hits the ground. If you hold too long, nothing will happen to the top robot, but the bottom robot won't have a large enough window to execute the next jump, so yeah. The next click is a medium click for the robot to jump onto the first blue pad pillar. Once you're there, do a small click to the next pillar before buffering a large click. It should be noted that you have to do these clicks at a certain time, because if you wait too long to do the first one, what will happen is that the cube will jump, land on the blue pad, and you won't be able to do the next clicks because you will have careened right into the bottom spike. The next two clicks are orbs that you hit pretty early in the timing window, but for the yellow orb, click duration actually does matter. You're best served by a medium click. A small click will mean the cube won't jump off the platform until you hit the blue orb, by which point it'll be too late to survive the spike triangle. When you land on the platform at the top, wait until you're about 40% off the platform, then do a long click. This blue orb, much like the yellow orb earlier, is served best by doing a click early in the timing window just after you release from the jump. Alright, so at this point, the top cube finally gets some love, but not much, because it's quite literally one click. All you have to do is click when you're laid on the top platform, at which point the robot will have begun its descent from the slope, and you'll have just entered the timing window for the yellow orb. Hold this click until you've jumped off the second platform as the cube. Because the robot works differently than the cube when it comes to the physics, it won't jump after landing on the platform following the yellow orb. I know this is probably a lot of information, but trust me, we're nearly there. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you being patient with me yapping about this 6% of a level for I don't even know how long, but there's only a couple more percentages to get to, so let's get after it. When you refocus on the robot, do two consecutive medium clicks. One to get onto the blue pad pillar, which also lets the cube jump over the spike and onto the yellow pads on the top, and one to get out of it. The next four clicks are all pretty self-explanatory. Blue orb, medium click, green orb, green orb. The only real nuance to this part is to make sure that your time without your finger on the mouse, or the up arrow or arrow, or your input method of choice, should be limited as much as possible. It's not quite holding, but it's close enough. The last part is pretty simple. Focus on the cube and just do two small to medium clicks. Don't ask how, but for some reason, the robot won't jump despite already being on the platform when you do the first click. I think this is mostly happens when you hold out of the last green orb and don't release until the robot has already touched the pad, but I'm not sure. And there you go, that's the entire Plasma Pulse Finale Cubot Robe duel done. I'm going to play the part one more time, but without any changes to the audio or video, so that way, if all goes well, it should hopefully sound like this. So that's pretty much where this video is going to end. If you're watching this on the day it comes out, I'm going to do, or have already done, the first stream of Necromancer, which, if you're wondering why Necromancer, well, I talked about it in the PPF video, where basically it's so awful that it loops back around on itself, and it's like really fun. Like, I am really enjoying my time with Necromancer so far, and that I know that's literally illegal. Like, I'm pretty sure it's in the 10 Commandments that it's just like, thou shalt not enjoy Necromancer or something, but I don't care. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. If you like the video, I guess, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!